Welcome to another episode of Profiles in Health and Wellness. I'm Marney Gellner. Our producer today is Eric Nordquist, and our guest is Alan Roach, who is famous for his pipes, and you're about to hear them. Hi, Alan. How are you doing today?
Hi, Marney. I'm doing great. Thank you.
There it is. The unmistakable for fans of, say, the Colorado Avalanche, or maybe people who have heard you as the public address announcer for various, Super Bowls and Olympics and the Denver International Airport, et cetera, et cetera. You make a living off of your voice.
And my favorite, of course, is the Minnesota Vikings.
And the Minnesota Vikings, for those of us who live in Minnesota. Yes. You have an unmistakable baritone. I know you're aware of that. What did your voice sound like at like 10, like pre-puberty?
I don't remember. I don't have any recordings because I didn't do any work back then, thankfully, because those would probably surface in ugly areas. I remember as a kid, I don't know what age, but when I would answer the phone, say hello, the person on the other end would think I was my mom. Say, "Oh, hi, Phyllis." No, it's not Phyllis. And my mom had a wonderful, normal woman's voice.
Okay, so good to know.
I don't know at what point that changed, but it changed.
Is it a hereditary thing? Do you have dads, uncles, brothers?
Yeah, a little bit. My dad and when certainly I have an older brother that lives in Minneapolis, in Eagan, actually, or Apple Valley. And if the two of us were talking, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was wondering that as I was doing some research. Is that a genetic thing? Is there genetic makeup to the baritone of a voice?
Probably to some degree. Is it an ornithologist? I think there's an extra syllable in there somewhere for a throat doctor. I have exceptionally long vocal cords.
So it's the length of the cord that gives it the deepness?
I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express, and I am not a doctor. Okay. So I don't know, but that's what I remember.
I'll bet you do vocal maintenance, and you know what keeps the pipes fresh.
Little bit. I've been lucky that you see on movies, singers or whatever warming up in the back room, but I don't do any of that. I think just, 35 years of using my voice, I've kind of trained all the muscles to know when to be on and when to be ready to go, and take care of myself with some, little health stuff, maintenance here and there to keep myself from getting sick. Obviously, a sore throat or a sinus infection or, stuffy nose, that kind of stuff is bad. So
yeah,
as much as I can stay away from that, the better.
Well, that leads us right into profile then, and in taking care of yourself and being healthy. What was it that led you to profile in the first place?
Well, my story is going to be totally different than most anyone else that's joined Profile. But my results, not totally different at all. I think probably very, very common and very basic. It was just last summer during the middle of our worldwide pandemic.
Yeah.
My wife is a teacher, and the parent of some children that she had previously at her school, they were friends and were talking, and he owned something called Profile by Sanford. And my wife is very healthy. She's beautiful. She's not overweight, in fantastic shape. She runs miles and miles every week. But she, in communicating with him, wanted to find out more about this nutrition plan and about the nutritious shakes and bars that they had. And asked me if I was interested. And, I've heard of that stuff before. And I kind of thought all diet stuff was basically the same. And honestly, I thought it was not for me and kind of hokey and not anything I'd want to be a part of. But my wife said, hey, we can do this, and, we can do it together. And I'm going to start making meals according to this plan. So kind of whether you want to be a part of it or not, you're going to be. So you might as well jump in. I said, okay, sure. So, and of course, we're both, like everyone else, home all day, every day, week after week after week. So about the 1st of July, I think last year, we started the program. Lindsay was our health representative, our nutritionist that helped us from Profile by Sanford out of Wheat Ridge, Colorado.
Okay.
She was fantastic. And so we started at square one, and I'm not going to remember what the levels were called, but we started where the first 2 weeks you basically cut out a lot.
Mm-hmm. Reduce.
And, we started with the shakes in the morning and a snack in the mid morning and a very specific lunch with specific food groups or a specific proteins and a certain amount of proteins, and same with dinner. And we did that for 2 weeks. And I know when we started, they said, well, how much do you weigh? We don't have a scale in the house. I have no idea how much I weigh. And so, well, what do you think? I said, I'm guessing I probably weigh 220, 225, maybe. I said, okay, well, what do you want your goal weight to be? And I said, well, okay, well, let's shoot for 200. Well, so when I did get the equipment from Profile to begin, one of those things, very nice electronic scale that hooks up to the internet, and I only weighed 215. I was like, well, there you go. I'm already well on my way.
My goal weight.
Yeah. We're an hour and a half into this, and I've already lost 10 pounds. That's pretty good. So over the course of, I would guess by the end of that 2 weeks, certainly no more than 3 weeks, I was to under 200 pounds. And I will say that those first 2 weeks of eating in that structured way was not overly comfortable. It wasn't normal for the way that I eat, but yet at the same time, it wasn't uncomfortable. It was different, and I was learning. And so I saw how fast I lost all that weight. And I thought, man, for people who go through their life for years and years and years, trying different diet plans or trying different nutritional things or trying different weight loss methods, oh man, I mean, if I lost these 15 pounds in 18 days and I didn't really want to or didn't have motivation to, I just did because of what the program did for my body. It's like, man, this is invaluable for people who want to lose weight.
Yeah, and they lay it out for you. And I never say it's easy because, as you said, it's different and you're not used to it. So it takes some effort to say, okay, I'm going to weigh my chicken to try to make it 3 ounces or whatever it is. But the easy part is that they lay it out for you. This is your breakfast. This is when you should have a snack. This is now your lunch, and then have this fiber shake. And like that part of it is structured, and that's easy to follow the instructions of. And did you find that it became a routine and a rhythm for you?
Oh, it did. And like what I said is it was not comfortable those first 2 weeks, but that's because that's the part of the plan that I was in. I was in the very basic training boot camp plan of, we're going to kick your butt here in the first couple of weeks to get us to a baseline to where we need to be. And then we're going to start graduating up levels. And once we did start graduating up those levels, then it became totally normal. And what I noticed is around the house, in between meals is when I would always do my snacking. And what I would eat is, M&Ms, some kind of chocolate. I would eat, potato chips and Funyuns and things like that. And just by shopping differently and knowing what to have as a snack, my snacks became grapes and apples with some kind of nut butter. Now, hugest fan in the world of different kinds of, it's not peanut butter, but it's similar kinds of nut butter that I would have with my apples. Mm-hmm. So it was learning how to satisfy what your body needs to take in and then give it the healthy stuff to take in instead of the junk that I normally ate. And after 4 weeks, I was back to eating the same as I did before starting the plan, not the same things, but eating the same amounts and the same time and
Mhm.
enjoying the day and not feeling hungry and not feeling as though I was missing out on something.
And how did your body look and feel after 4 weeks? Or
There again, that's where I'm gonna fall into. I'm a little bit unusual. Um, Lindsay would ask me all the time, "Do you feel any different? How do you feel?" And I can't say that I ever felt a lot different. I was amazed that I was 20 pounds less than I was 3 weeks ago. I mean, that part was amazing. And yeah, I did lose, that little bubble around your waist, or the little extra bounce that you have when you walk or run or do whatever. So I did notice that my body looked different. Um, I've always been very healthy and I've always been very active, but I'm also incredibly hard headed. And so no matter how I feel, whether I wake up in the morning and I feel good or I don't feel good, I go to work and I do what I need to do. So I didn't have the recognition of I have more energy or I'm able to do more. But I by looking at my body, I could tell there was a difference.
Mhm.
And I certainly didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel as though I was missing out on anything. I felt great. Um, and so, as we've now graduated past the plan and are now shopping on our own and buying all of our own food and making all of our own recipes, yet using what we've learned from Lindsay and Profile, I mean, we're on to what, 9 months of doing this now, and it's fabulous.
And so now it is your new normal. It is your new lifestyle, and the way that I would assume you're taking all the education and applying it.
Yeah. And yeah, you'd be amazed. Portion size is important, as well as what it is you're eating. And it used to be, if I'd sit down and have a steak or a pork chop, some of my favorite things to eat, I would have to have 16 ounces or 17 ounces or 18 ounces. Well, so maybe the program
What a
only
chop.
offers you 9 ounces or 10 ounces. I don't feel hungry when I'm done. I don't feel as though I ate any less. And an hour later, it's not like I'm wanting something else. I've given my body what it needs, and the excess that I used to give my body, I don't put in there, and that's why I don't get bigger in certain areas.
And you're not feeling deprived because
No,
of
no. And early on, you will. I mean, but that's normal because early on, you have to shock your body. I mean, Lindsay went into all of the. First of all, I can't say enough about Lindsay at Profile and how great she was. And this is how we connected because of COVID again. We weren't going into the office and meeting with her face to face. We were meeting together on a Zoom call.
yeah.
But all of the information that she would give us and all of the things that she would teach us, for instance, in order to begin to lose weight, you basically have to, cut out, I don't remember what the numbers were, 3,500 calories, or you need to make a deficit of at least 3,500, or maybe it was 35,000. I don't know. I don't remember. But she said you need to shock your body into losing weight, into getting into the mode of
Mhm.
stopping your body from holding on to stuff. And so the beginning part of it, yeah, it's kind of a shock, and you're going to be eating differently, and you're not going to be eating things that you're used to. But first of all, if you're going into the program with the goal of I want to lose weight, it's going to be a lot easier to go through those 2 weeks. I went through those 2 weeks of, I don't really know why I'm doing this. I guess I'm doing this because my wife wants to. But, then I come out on the other side and was like, wow, this was really cool.
And so even though it wasn't your outward intention or something that you specifically went out seeking, are you glad that you have gone through this?
No doubt. I mean, the way my wife and I eat now and prepare meals and go grocery shopping, and the things that we have around the house to snack on or to make meals with is so much different than what it used to be. And it looks healthier, it feels healthier, I know it's healthier. And we learned all of that from Lindsay. And from day one, she said, our goal is not to sign you up for Profile by Sanford and make it that you only shop for Profile by Sanford food for the rest of your life, and that's all you're ever going to eat. Our goal is to teach you how to do things and teach you how to shop in your own grocery store. And that's what we did. Just a couple of weeks, you started phasing into that a couple of weeks after we started.
Yeah. And I love that part about it. And they're very upfront about that. We don't want you tied to our program for your entire life. We don't want you tied to having to buy our food. That's not the point. And then you kind of give them a little more trust because you're like, okay, you're not trying to rope me in for money or service for eternity.
But there are things that we still get from Profile. The protein bars that they have are
I do too.
fabulous. And,
yeah.
That's your snack in the mid-morning between your breakfast and your lunch, or between your lunch and your dinner, is a protein bar. And you'd think, well, that's not really going to be enough. You get your body used to that being enough, and it's getting all of the nutrition that it needs to have, and it is enough. And it's those bars are great. I mean, they have about 16 different kinds. I have 3 or 4 favorites. My wife does too. And the shakes, we still buy some of the shakes, and it's easy, especially on days when I gotta rush out of the house in a hurry. Your breakfast can be something that you mix in a glass of water or a glass of oat milk or whatever it might be, and it's really tremendous.
Yep, I found the convenience was huge.
Yeah,
sounds like you do a lot of traveling, or at least did pre-COVID. I did as well. That was a big part of my job, and that the convenience of being able to take a bunch of packets and say, okay, I'm in a hotel room for a week, but here's my breakfast for a week. And I just travel packets and travel bars, and makes it so much easier. I figure out the meals along the way, but part of it is taken care of. So convenient.
And that's kind of what turned me off about diet programs and things. And keep in mind, I'd never done anything like this before and never wanted to try anything like this before. And then when they're talking about shakes, I was like, oh, here we go. But it's great. I mean, you mix up the shake, and first of all, it tastes fantastic. And again, you're giving your body the nutrients that it needs at that time, and not giving it a whole bunch of other junk. And it's just like sitting down and eating whatever breakfast you've been used to in the past. Your body feels satisfied, satiated, and you move on. And the shakes are great tasting. So yeah, you're exactly right. The ease of being able to do some of the things through Profile has made it that much better and that much more desirable.
Agreed. So even though it isn't something that you were seeking, it sounds like maybe Profile found you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All my voice went down so I could really make the point there.
Like I said, all I could think of in those first few weeks is, for people that have been searching their entire life for something that works. And I don't know, I again, didn't do any of the other diet programs. I never tried to lose a pound ever before in my entire life for any reason. But I was like, this is how easy it is to get healthier and in the meantime lose 15 pounds in 20 days and not starve myself. I was amazed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Well, Alan, appreciate it. I thank you for sharing your story. I wish you vocal health and wellness and physical health and wellness continued to you and your wife. And we just really appreciate your insight today and everything that you've experienced with Profile. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and everything that I've said about how I feel about Profile, you can multiply that by 3 for my wife.
Okay.
She just loves it and loves Lindsay and everything that she's learned. And if I could leave you with one thing, if as a couple you do this program, it makes it so much easier.
Yes.
And maybe easy isn't the word, but you both buy into it and you both encourage each other and you both see the changes in each other. To do it as a couple and be together in your goals, I think is very important.
I agree. And even just the simplicity of the meals. If you're both in on it, then you're both helping each other and one runs to the grocery store or one puts the salad together. I did it with my husband the same way, the program at the same time. And I agree. Very helpful, very supportive.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Alan. Thank you so much. Alan Roach there sharing his story on another episode of Profiles in Health and Wellness. Thank you, Alan.